Hello, future students and families. We're going to look at how a typical day at PALC should start. Each day after signing into PALC school, you will come to what is called the dashboard. You can think of this as the hallway at your school. Each of these boxes is like a door that will take you to a class. You should always start in your homeroom by reading the daily announcements from your teacher. These announcements are the important things your teacher wants you and your family to know each day. This megaphone icon shows you how many new announcements there are from your teacher. So let's go look at our homeroom announcements. The fastest way to get to our announcements is to click on the megaphone. And you can see it takes us to a list of all of the announcements with the newest on the top. Let's look at another way to get to announcements. From the dashboard, which is our school hallway, you can go into your homeroom directly by clicking on the square. Once we're in our homeroom, we can click on the Announcements button in our navigation bar. And now we're ready to read our announcements. All you need to do is click on the announcement name to read it. Make sure you read everything that your teacher has written in your announcements. You can also respond to your teacher in the discussion on the bottom. Just click the Reply button and type what you'd like to say. Then click Post Reply to post your message. After checking your announcements, you should then check your inbox. This is where any messages from your teachers that are just for you will be. So while announcements are for your whole class, your inbox is just for you. This is also the fastest and best way to contact your teacher if you have a question. In order to check your inbox, you're going to come to the blue navigation bar and click on the button that says Inbox. It also has an icon that looks like a letter. So here we can see all of the messages from our teachers. Let's look at how we can write a message to our teacher. First, make sure the box in the corner says All Courses. That makes sure that you're seeing messages from all of your teachers and lets you message any of your teachers. Then we want to click on the icon that shows a piece of paper and a pencil in the top of our page. This lets us start a new message. This top box is where you can choose the course you want to write to. For example, if you have a specific math question, you can choose your math course. Otherwise, if you're just writing to your teacher, you can leave it set as Select Course. The next box is where you pick who is getting the message. I want to send this message to my third grade teacher, so I'm going to start typing her name and then select her name once it comes up. Next, I want to write a subject. We need to be specific about why we're writing this message so our teacher knows what we need. For example, instead of just writing help, we want to be more specific. We could write help with Tuesday's math quiz. That lets our teacher know what this message is going to be about. After you've written your message, click Send to send it off to your teacher. And you'll notice you get a little message that shows that you have sent this message to your teacher. Once you've read your announcements and checked your message, you are ready to go to your first class. You can do that by going back to your dashboard and opening a new door. Remember, your dashboard can have doors for all of your classes, including electives like music, PE, and art. With your family, I suggest that you make a schedule for your day and decide which class you'll start with and then what order you will go through the rest of your classes. Each class will have work for you, so it's your responsibility to visit each class, look at what you need to do that day, and make sure you finish each step before going to the next class. Let's look at an example by visiting a third grade math class. When you go into your class, you always start on the home page. Your teacher will store all of the important information and resources you will need for this class on the home page. In this class, you can find links to your virtual lesson room, where you will meet with your teacher for your live face-to-face lessons, as well as recordings for previous lessons. You can also find different ways to contact your teacher, but remember, using the inbox is the best way. And on the bottom of this page are more links to important resources you can explore. But right now, let's get to the lessons and see what you're supposed to do today. We can get to lessons by clicking on the Module button in our white navigation bar. You can also click the icon that looks like a box with a check mark. This icon is going to take us straight to this week's lessons. We can make sure we're on the right lesson for today by checking the day of the week and month. So I can see that for today, Monday, June 12th, there are 3 different steps that I need to follow to complete the lessons. First, I need to view the directions page. Then I'm going to view the guided practice page. And finally, I'm going to submit the homework. You can see the second and third lessons are in light gray, while the first lesson is in clear, dark print. These lessons are grayed out because right now they're locked. You need to complete each step in the day in order to open the next step. This way you don't miss anything important. Once I've completed a step, it will show back on the module page with a green check mark. Let's see how. I'm going to open my first lesson. I would take my time and with my facilitator make sure I read each of the directions so I know what I want to do today. When I go back to my modules, I can see this first part of the lesson is complete because it has a green check mark, and the second part of my lesson has become dark black, and now I can click on it. You can also navigate in order through each of your lessons by using the next button and the previous button on the bottom of your screen. I know I need to go on to the next page because I can see there's an arrow telling me to go on. You're going to follow those arrows and follow all the directions on the page until you come to a stop sign. I know that once I've submitted this assignment, this stop sign means that I will have completed all of my lessons. My family and I can double check that I've completed the day's work by going back to modules and looking to see each of those green arrows. So I can see from Monday, June 12th, I have completed each of the steps for that day's lessons. You're finished in a class once each item in that day has a green check mark. Then you can return to the dashboard and follow this same routine for each of your classes until you've finished your work for the day and you're free to go and play.